Okay, all right, let's kick off while others join us so we don't spend the whole day waiting. Okay, so once again, I welcome you all to another exciting session of Pi and AI, our monthly um, meetup. And today we will be discussing something very interesting. I've always got this question from a lot of folks, mostly those who are not really into AI. Please, can we still hear me? Let me be sure.
Yeah, sure.
All right, great. So, a lot of people say, oh, is AI coming to take our job? What's the future of work? What is this? What's the future of software engineers, of designers, and yada, 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 stuff like that, And oftentimes I get to tell them that, well, AI is not actually coming to take our job, but those people who knows how to use AI are the ones who are actually coming to take your job. So, and this has been a topic that has been lingering about, really, really for me to talk about. And glad enough, I found a very good friend and a colleague as well who wanted to talk about it with us. And he's here today with us, Mr. Innocent Ada. So Mr. Innocent is a seasoned coach, and his portfolio is actually very long. I don't know how to start reading it, but I will just stop at that. He's a seasoned coach because we've worked together, and also a researcher, yeah, and management consultant. And he's here today to give us, to lend us some of his knowledge on what he thinks about AI and the future. So how can we future-proof our career against AI, so as to weather against every of the boosts. There are a lot of things coming out today. You see this tech coming out, and you're wondering, how can I stand against these things? Okay, we'll be buttressing on this today and trying to answer some of your questions. So please put your questions down while he's talking, and at the end, we will be answering those questions you have. So once again, thank you for joining us. We are glad to have you here today. So, Innocent, sir, I don't know if maybe you are good, so we can kick off with you. Thank you for wanting to do this with us today. I remember the day we talked about it. I was so excited. So, and the day is finally here. So thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate your time. Okay, so it's over to you. Thank you very much. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin. It's an honor to be here, and I'm glad that we are having this discussion. All right. So I trust you can hear me.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to basically continue from where Mr. Benjamin stopped on the topic, right? So sorry about that. Let me this up. Sorry. Okay. All right. So we are going to be talking about future-proofing your career against AI, and we'll be sharing strategies and insight on staying relevant in an AI-driven world. So, like I said, I'll be beginning from where Mr. Benjamin stopped, and he made mention of the fears people have concerning the, will I call it infiltration, right? That is the mindset most people have, the infiltration. But there is a subtle there's kind of an undertone of technological breakthrough over the years that people don't actually understand. For instance, if we look at, in certain parts of the world, and I will use Nigeria as a case study, we still have a kind of slow pace, right? a slow pace in technological advancement or in adapting to the technological change, right? So I want to kind of paint this picture now. And the picture is, till date, there are certain ministries, certain organizations, even with high power technologies as common as, say, certain laptops or personal computers, tablets, and so on, you find people, employees shying away from the introduction of such technologies in the workplace. And we then ask ourselves this question. And the thing is, the fear usually is, what happens to those who are already working in such organizations and who don't have the skills or who have not adapted to this growth that they can manage these technologies in the workplace? So we always are going to have that fear. And the fear of change is a constant fear because change is constant, isn't it? So the fear of change is constant. So now let us go into uh, discussing the problem, right? And in this case, the problem here, what is bringing that fear is artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is not just a trend, right? It's not just it's not a fluke, it's not something that we hope will go away, right? It is a force that is drastically reshaping industries and redefining the future of work, right? So we know from studying the, I will say, advent introduction of artificial intelligence, that AI has evolved from performing basic rule-based automation, right? Such as sorting emails or automating repeated processes, to executing complex functions that require cognitive abilities. We could see, if you follow the AI trend, you could see different robots that have been used in different occasions, right, for specific purposes, and those that have been taken around for different tests, basically testing cognitive abilities. And even in some areas, they test for the ability to mimic emotional capabilities, right? So we understand that AI capabilities are expanding, right? This is what we are seeing and experiencing. That as far as technology goes, technology advancement is not just a phase or a stage, right? It's a continuous process where people, professionals, are researching, enhancing capabilities. Why? For better living. I'll take our minds back to the normal cars that we have, the cars we have around. You know, there was a time I remember when trying to, while growing up, there are things you really want to do. You want to do what, maybe let me put it this way, eat the pies of the adults, right? You want to drive a car. You can't wait. You just couldn't wait to start driving a car or doing something adults do. So I remember this Volkswagen, right? I think in our local parlance, we call it tortoise car. I remember trying so hard to turn the steering, and it was really difficult. It was tough. But as we progressed uh, from time to time, we saw that new cars, new invention, even the Volkswagen Beetle, right, progressed to a new kind of beautiful bug, right? For instance, you find out that we started having smooth steering, like the power steering, right? We started having progress from the manual to automatic. Now you have cars that you put on, that you on the ignition by just pushing a button. now artificial intelligence has made it possible that you can even ask your car to come on, right? Or using some setting sounds. So these technological capabilities are expanding, right? And this expansion influence our daily lives. This expansion basically influence the job market, right? And because why technology advancement penetrates the job or affects really the job market so much is because the job we do are mostly what? Repetitive tasks, right? We have, for instance, data entry. Even in some decision making now, we want to see or to test whether our decisions can be have evidence based backing, right? Because the human mind works in a certain way. If you sit down and now want to make a decision, I want to be sure that the decision you make is a solid decision and that you are not making mistakes. You see that we actually depend on people that have such experiences. So with artificial intelligence trained with so much, I'll call it so much knowledge, you should just say using the local parlance, with so much knowledge, we tend to want to over depend, right? We tend to want to over depend on it. And these over dependencies actually is what usually expand the capabilities, because like I said initially, professionals are always looking for ways. There's a lot of money, there's a lot of investment in artificial intelligence research and development. So this presentation have been designed to provide you with actionable strategies that your career not only survives, but thrives in this AI-driven landscape. We want a situation, right, that we don't just talk about things, but we find a way out, having an understanding of what the problem is and what our role is in ensuring that we have not just careers that survives, right? So we are not looking at AI as a plague. We are not looking at surviving a plague. We are looking at surviving and thriving within this AI-driven world, because it must definitely get better. It must get better. It must become more accurate. And the growth is what is even more scary, right? The growth, the accuracy is what is even more scary. So we know that they are beneficial, right? They are beneficial needs of artificial intelligence. So that alone will definitely make investment in artificial intelligence research, expanding artificial intelligence capabilities, something that most industries will be interested in. Okay. All right. So the rise of artificial intelligence, and we are looking at AI evolution now. Just like we mentioned in the introduction, AI has undergone remarkable transformation, right? Basically from simple task automation to complex systems, as we have discussed earlier. Okay, so AI was utilized in industries like manufacturing for tasks such as operating basic robotic arms, right? Which were designed to perform repetitive actions with high and clinical precision, right? With high precisions. So now these were the early implementations of artificial intelligence, but these implementations were limited. They were limited in scope, right? Now we have artificial intelligence tool for designs, for basically everything, for research. I use a number of them myself for my research purposes. Okay. Now, over the past few decades, AI has significantly advanced, right? And today, as we speak, AI encompasses sophisticated machine learning, right? And deep learning technologies. So these systems don't just execute this repeated task, but they learn from vast data sets. Okay, they learn from data set that has been presented to them. They learn from generated data sets. So now AI has grown to a level where it can mimic, right, and understand the human, will I say, need evolution pathway, right? And you can see in apps like Netflix and so on that use studied customer or user behavior. You can see that even with recommendation and all of those things, data generated in real time helps to shape how AI performance or how AI performs, basically. Okay, so with that, they can make predictions with a level of accuracy that was previously unimaginable. Okay, so now we have AI applications in various sectors like healthcare, finance, and transformation. For instance, let's begin with healthcare. And while we talk about this, I want to gradually tell us the problem, because most times why we fear is because we have not reflected on the problem. And the problem is not necessarily a problem. The problem could just be what makes us fear. So our fear, I was discussing with someone this morning. I said it wasn't out of place for, I'll say, the Englishman, right, to say you're making a mountain out of a molehill. It wasn't out of place, because what our minds can do, our minds can elevate, can make so big what shouldn't be a problem in the first place. And that is why you see it cuts across every sector, basically. Fear cuts across every aspect of our lives and has the ability to actually reduce us to nothing. And fear stems from our inability or our worry of performing basic duties that will actually give us our basic needs. Why is the fear of AI rampant? Is that, oh, as this thing is going, it looks like it's going to take a whole lot of jobs. So what happens to us? Remember the fear of robots when robots were the thing and artificial intelligence had not even gotten so far. We saw different movies about robot takeover, right? We saw different read different articles about the potential of robot malfunction and the extinction of human from the earth. So the truth is that I want to put this forth and say that even with the fact that machines make accurate or close to accurate detection of tumors, you find out that sometimes, or most of the times, the support of the technician is needed. You need someone who will interface with the patient, who will ask the patient certain questions, right? And who will make sure that they understand what the patient is suffering and then run through and so on. So I believe right now that artificial intelligence, rather, will be a great support to ensuring that we have an evolved life rather than taking over jobs from everyone. And let's keep going. So now let's talk about the AI application in healthcare, right? So AI-driven tools, right, implemented in the healthcare system is revolutionizing how patients are cared for. For instance, we have the IBM Watson, right, that has been deployed to assist in diagnosing diseases. So you see, in various aspects of healthcare or medicine, we have diagnosis, we have treatment. Basically, we have research, diagnosis, treatment, and in treatment, we definitely have surgery and the rest. So now Watson can analyze a patient's medical history alongside millions of medical journals, clinical studies, and treatment protocols in a matter of just few seconds. Okay. And it now provides doctors with evidence-based recommendations. And as it is, evidence-based recommendations. So it's cutting down time. For instance, let me, I don't know how conversant we are with the medical process, but I'll try as much as possible to explain something. For instance, we have a test like MCS, right? Microscopy, culture, and sensitivity. So basically, if someone is suffering from an infection, the person goes to the hospital, the doctor recommends the MCS, it goes to the lab, samples are taken, and the sample is cultured. When the sample is cultured for at least a day or overnight, you have certain growths. Those growths are identified, right? Then we have a sensitivity disk that will be embedded on the microorganisms so that the doctor understands or gets to know which of the antibiotics will be suitable for the patient or to treat the infection. So, but imagine that we have to, so these things, to achieve this MCS, we need at least 48 hours. Yes, at least 48 hours. But imagine that I can know the culpable microorganism. I can know the antibiotics that will respond to treatment. I can know all of these things in a few minutes, imagine, and see how the healthcare system will evolve. Okay, so that is it. And that is why we see that these capabilities, right, outstrips what any human physician can just do, like I just described, okay? So now in finance as well, AI has made substantial inroads, right? AI algorithms are now central to basically fraud detection. For example, the JP Morgan Chase uses AI to monitor transaction in real time, flagging suspicious activity that might indicate fraud, and so on. So basically, all of these advanced implementations of maybe infusion of artificial intelligence is to solve problems. And if we could, basically, let me put it this way. The truth is that every problem has a solution, so we want to believe, right? And apart from the solution, a businessman wants to think what it costs him or her to solve the problem. In determining the solution, we want to know how much is going to cost us over time if we were to solve that problem. Okay, so now the fear is if humans are used to directly solve the problem, humans can get tired. Imagine I have to watch, right? I have alert systems that I have to take note for fraud detection, and I have to be watching every time. You know that, okay, somebody can fall asleep. We can just be maybe probably discussing and not paying attention, and so on. So I want to believe you can still hear me.
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So AI is getting to every sector, basically. And one one major fear, there are fears from various sectors, where for the general public, it will be the fear of taking over jobs. But for others, there's a fear um, of losing control, right? In such a way that it might be possible that AI can just basically destroy the world. And what people fear most is that AI is free to use. Okay, that is the biggest issues. That is ethical use of artificial intelligence. Okay, so what are the impacts of AI on jobs? Okay, now let's look at the impacts. Number one, we are looking at automation of routine tasks. We say that AI increasingly handle tasks that are repetitive, right? Because, for instance, in manufacturing, right, where you need repetitive actions, okay, so instead of lining up people in a long chain, in a motorbed where people have to package, inspect, and so on, artificial intelligence can help very well. So in repetitive tasks, AI is doing something there that definitely can make people understand, that make us understand the fear. Okay. So, for instance, in the customer service sector, companies like Amazon have developed AI-driven chatbots, right, that can manage millions of customers' inquiries simultaneously. These bots are capable of understanding natural language, providing accurate responses, and even handling complex queries without the need of any human intervention. So definitely, this introduction enhances or improves efficiency, but definitely frees up human employees. Okay, but now freeing up human employees is not taking them out, but human employees can now focus on higher value tasks, such as addressing more nuanced customer needs. All right, they are basically needs that AI will not meet. Okay, and AI, as far as we are concerned, AI cannot work on customer retention strategies. It cannot work on customer retention strategies. And if we talk about strategy development, so AI needs to really evolve to a place where it begins to understand the natural human evolution, the human uh, information or utilization process of information utilization process. My apologies, right? So, for instance, the human mind, if you look at the Maslow's needs, the hierarchy of needs, you look at that very well, even though we can categorize basically what human needs are, what has been very difficult, even in research, is to ascertain the transition point between human behavior and how the environment adapts human behavior. So it is not something that is consistent. It is something that can be learned as we go, basically opened up as we go. So one thing I'm certain is that professionals need to actually grow. We will see basically recommendations in that light. So now, apart from taking up automated routine tasks, AI is creating new job roles. AI is creating new job roles. Yes, you heard me. AI is creating new job roles. So just like any evolution, we have roles, empty roles that need people to take care of. As we're evolving, taking people from the natural ways. For instance, let me put it this way. In the agricultural sector, we have mechanical farming, let me put it that way. We have mechanical farming, we have irrigation and the rest. Not too long ago, and in fact, in some villages right now, you don't have that form of irrigation. What you have is a farmer, a vegetable farmer, calling out, paying people, village women who goes to the stream and kind of bring water to irrigate the farms. The farm irrigation system is done with, we call them furrows, right? The space between ridges is done in such a way that when water is poured, it can go around and circulate around the farm. But now, look at this. When that same farmer gets an irrigation system that is long overdue, that irrigates his farm, what happens is that that irrigation system definitely takes over the job roles of the women, but it opens other roles like engineers who will or supervisors who will supervise every farm process. For instance, now, if we have irrigated farming, we definitely have a farm that would produce faster, especially vegetables and so on, will produce faster. So we need people to basically spray the farm, right? So that we can actually take out weeds. We need more harvest roles. Even if we are using automated harvesting systems like the tractors and so on, we need tractor drivers. We need not just people who know how to drive, but people who know how to harvest vegetables with these machines. So definitely new job roles will be created. So now, for instance, let me use, say, for example, or for instance, the same thing. Data scientists are responsible for analyzing, interpreting complex data to help organizations make informed decisions. In industries like e-commerce, these professionals might analyze customer data to predict buying patterns and enable companies to optimize their inventory and marketing strategy. So one role that is opening up more and more is the data analyst, the data scientist, the data engineering role, because machine learning engineers are in high demands. Okay, they are in high demands. And whether, because if we look at maybe ChatGPT and the rest, they have the ability, you can upload your data set, right? Upload your data set, get it analyzed. However, I've tried this as a data scientist in so many ways. When you do that, the analysis is not actually, most of the time, is not exactly as you want it. You need to adjust, you need to interpret, and so on and so forth. So you have a lot of things to do, okay? Now, this second, we have AI ethicists. They are becoming increasingly important, right? As AI systems take on more responsibilities. These professionals work to ensure that AI is developed and deployed in a way that is ethical, fair, and transparent. So basically addressing challenges such as bias or privacy and the potential for job displacement. Okay. Then I've made mention of machine learning engineers, and we have more. We have more. So what is the importance of future-proofing? And if the concept of future-proofing is clear, future-proofing means that as a scientist, as a data scientist, a data analyst, or a data engineer, or a machine learning professional, and so on and so forth, that we are able to work on our careers in such a way that we will not feel the displacement. Truth be told, there will be level of displacement. What change does is that change makes a shift. At any introduction, there is a shift, there is a transition from one stage to the other. Once there is a transition, let me use this basic example. If you are promoted to the next level, you are definitely leaving a seat vacant. So definitely there need to be a shift upward. So once there is always room for you having or being better equipped. So why does it matter? Now, I began by giving an introduction of technology advancement with the introduction of as common as computers, the Pentium computers and so on, were in replacing typewriter, right? The manual typewriter. Okay, so technological advancements are not just inevitable; they are accelerating, right? Industries across the world, across board, are experiencing changes as AI integrates into core business operations. Like I made mention of something, I said the goal of every business is actually to make profit. And it wasn't too long ago that I was reading about Microsoft's investment in artificial intelligence, right? And imagine, right, that you have AI help in um, Microsoft Office tools is going to make Microsoft Office tools more appealing for people to use, more and more and more appealing for people to use. Okay, so let's see how these technological advancements are revolutionizing. For instance, I picked this example, retail operations. For the first is inventory management. So we know that traditional inventory management is a labor-intensive process that is actually prone to errors. All right. But with AI systems or AI-driven systems, inventory management systems or softwares are capable of analyzing sales data. Okay, they predict demands, right? Basically predicting demands based on the analysis of the data. Okay, and companies like Amazon, for instance, have used AI to perfect just-in-time inventory models. By doing this, they reduce overhead costs and ensure that products are available when and where customers need them. Okay. Now, personalized marketing is another. If you are a marketing professional or digital marketing professional, you will know tools like AnyWord AI, Co-Schedule. Basically, all of these marketing tools have AI infusion, right? Where AI will help you actually plan, test your content, right? Helping you with elements of your marketing strategy to ensure that you have a beneficial engagement, basically. So now, what we have just discussed really underscores the need, highlights the need for us to be able to take actions. So what are the consequences of inactions? Okay, the first is risk of job displacement. Like I said, with every evolution, with every advancement, we have a forward shift, basically a movement. So only those who are ready will move, right? If you move, there are those who will be left behind. And those who will be left behind have the risk of job displacement. Then reduce competitiveness in the job market. So now the competition will basically be who have access to, or those that have access to the finest AI technologies, right? So definitely there'll be reduced competitiveness. I read an article that was centered on AI taking away the human creative process, right? And okay, now this AI we are talking about, let me say this now. I was training people and I asked them to do an assignment. I had in mind, I knew they were going to do something like that, but not as much as I experienced it. Some went to ChatGPT, some used the Gemini, some used the Copilot. Basically, if you look at these three, very common, you are going to actually see how basically if you use them and have studied them, you are going to understand the difference between their outputs. And these guys copied exactly, just exactly what it gave them, right? And some were so lazy that they could not even take here is and at the end about making changes. So what I told them was that AI is for support and not dependencies. If you depend solely on AI, you lose your what? Your creative abilities. AI will not have the natural creative ability God has given us. It's not going to be possible. Okay? We have the natural creative ability. So if you depend fully on artificial intelligence, you're going to lose this. And organizations or companies or businesses who solely depend on artificial intelligence will basically will grow well for a while, but the the competitiveness wouldn't be there. And even in the job market, for instance, now we have tools like tools that develop CVs, right? If you are a professional CV reviewer and you look at a CV and you tell artificial intelligence to develop a CV for you, you are still going to see the difference. Now, your CV developed by artificial intelligence may pass the ATS score easily or easier, but it might not have the substance that the employer is looking for. Okay, so now we need to actually take actions because, okay, let me use this for organizational story. Let me use this example I crafted. I say, for instance, Kodak story. Kodak, the film, is a classic tale, right? Kodak failed to adapt to technological innovation. They were the pioneers of digital photography, right? So Kodak was slow to shift its focus from film to digital. So as competitors embraced digital technology, Kodak remained held tight to its traditional film business. Okay, so they underestimated the speed and scale of the digital transformation or digital revolution. So the result was a decline, a catastrophic decline, right, in the market share, leading to the company filing for bankruptcy. So if we as a person or a business, we don't go with this trend, we can't wait. My advice is don't wait for it to dissipate because it's not a fluke. It's going to always grow. So what are the strategies now to future-proof your career? What are the strategies? Number one, embracing lifelong learning. There is a common saying that we only stop learning when we are dead. because the IT world and the world in general is rapidly evolving. And as it's evolving, so is the job market, the job needs, the skills required to fill up a position. So it is evolving. Okay, so professionals who regularly update their knowledges or their knowledge in areas like cybersecurity, cloud computing. I just put out a few. Okay, will find themselves more resilient to market shifts. Okay, for instance, the rise of remote work has accelerated adoption of cloud services. An IT specialist with up-to-date skills in platforms like Amazon Web Services and Azure are high in demand or in high demand. Okay, so we also need, you also experience that professionals in cybersecurity and those with cybersecurity, advanced cybersecurity certifications like those in ethical hacking are well equipped to protect organizations from emerging risk. Okay, so beyond these technological skills I've just mentioned, IT professionals who embrace technologies like blockchain or AI are better prepared to lead digital transformation initiatives. Definitely so. Because you can't lead what you don't understand. You can't lead with what you don't know. You can't lead a team that are growing every day with a trend when you are backward. So now it goes to my saying that you could have 30 years of experience, but somebody with 10 years or 5-year experience will be selected to lead an innovative team, okay, because of your inability to catch up with digital transformation. So embracing lifelong skills require that you continuously learn and adapt. Learn the ropes of AI, see the deficiencies of AI, follow the AI, artificial intelligence trend, and see how you could basically grow with the trend. For instance, in the Scrum framework, there's something we call a T member, right? A T-shaped member. That is a member who has a horizontal broad knowledge of the things happening around, and the same member having what? A vertical direct knowledge of what to implement. So now let's go into developing soft skills. Like I said earlier, understanding human behavior is something that I really doubt artificial intelligence will be very good in without any support, basically. Because human behavior is not static. Neither is it the same. You can, there is something in crime evaluation called motive. So there is, the human mind is so complex that there is motive for everything. There is a motive for everything. Okay. So whatever we do is backed with motive. So, and soft skills are actually something that AI wouldn't be able to be good at. So we actually need people or professionals who have great soft skills. For instance, I use an advertising, for example. I say in the advertising industry, creative directors, for instance, who excel at blending AI-driven data insights with human creativity, produce some of the most impactful campaigns. For example, while AI can analyze vast amounts of consumer data to identify trends and preferences, it takes a human touch to craft a compelling narrative that will resonate emotionally with the audience. So understanding how human works is a human endeavor. Understanding what is compelling enough for a particular set of human is a human endeavor. Okay, so skills like emotional intelligence, negotiation skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills are very crucial. They are very, very crucial. How to get the best out of people, how to identify the strengths from people, how to ensure that people can actually give their best without necessarily enslaving themselves or getting burned out. Okay, so let's think of how companies like Nike combine data-driven insights with powerful storytelling to create campaigns that not only engage but inspire action. I was listening to the business story or business development of Nike, and what I learned was that what Nike, what they sell is not the canvas, or should I call them canvas or boots, or what they sell is not that. What they sell is experience, storytelling, and loyalty. That is what they sell. Okay. So now this inspiring storytelling technique can only, right, be enhanced by the understanding of human behavior, the understanding of human needs. Okay. So skills like empathy, I've mentioned emotional intelligence already, are essential in fields like customer service and healthcare. Empathy, emotional intelligence will not be overdriven by artificial intelligence. It's my belief, and it's the belief of majority of the professionals, because like I said, the human endeavor or understanding human behavior is a human endeavor. Okay. And even for us humans, basically, let me put it this way. You see how preferences are understood based on input data, and you can still see how preferences change by the data that changes with your use, right? If you use Netflix and so on, you'll find out that your recommendations may change based on your change in behavior. So recommendations change and so on. So data is collected, and when data is maximally, when the trend is watched, then recommendation begins to come. So it is difficult for even a human to say, okay, this person, I know exactly when this person is changing, right? It is difficult. And AI relies on collecting data, I will say, over time, because a change in one movie is not enough for you to get recommendations that actually match. Not all of the recommendations will match your need per time. Okay. So it is being refined over time when you begin to, I pick maybe movie A, I put this other series, I go and skip, and oh yeah, with time he understands that, oh yeah, I think I can understand where you are going now. Okay. So soft skills are very important. I've mentioned that we should stay AI informed. We should stay informed about the evolving trends of AI. We should understand how AI is transforming industries. And one challenge the Nigerian have, I wouldn't say the African, because I'm more conversant with more Nigerians. I wouldn't say Africans, I'll say Nigerians. One challenge Nigerians have is that they are not even sure about what industry they want to build a career in. Okay, oh, today is data analysis. Oh, data analysis is the in thing. That's where money is coming in. Oh no, I think content creation. These content creators are making money. I want content creation now. Oh, I think I heard somebody, a friend of mine, say digital marketing is the thing now. So people end up gathering certificates. Today, this person is a digital marketer, and okay, I've gotten that certificate. Let me look at this one again, so that I am just preparing myself, so that any job I see, I can basically jump on. Okay, so you can see that we are struggling with survival. All right, so that is the major challenge, and see that we can't actually, most of the time we're lost because you are not actually, you don't have an industry in mind that you are pursuing. Okay, so you need to stay abreast of the happenings, right, in that industry and how you can future-proof yourself. So highly recommended. Select an industry of choice and stop dabbling around. Stop jumping in the waters. Okay. Stop struggling for survival. You can breathe. Okay. So, for instance, I picked the legal profession, for instance, now, and I said, those in the legal profession who stay informed about AI tools that assist with contract analysis or due diligence are gaining a competitive edge. For instance, AI-powered platforms like Kira Systems can review thousands of legal documents in a fraction of time it will take a human. If you are conversant with the legal process, you know legal research process, contracting process, contracting studies where you have a whole lot of junior legal team members that will have to sit together and read overnight or in several days for you to come up with something. And we can cut down that time, right? Okay, by using artificial intelligence. So identifying key the system identifies key causes, flag potential risks, and ensure compliance. So lawyers who are proficient in using these tools. So proficient in tools now become very important. Just like you might look for people, if you see some job advert, they'll say they're looking for talents or professionals who are proficient in using Microsoft tools, proficient in using, even in data analysis, you see Stata, you see SPSS for research analysis, you see SAP, right? R programming, and so on and so forth. So these tools will not use themselves. So when we use tools that will be used, when tools, AI is infused into tools we use in the industry, proficiency becomes a thing. That is why I say the shift is very important. So if these junior legal associates or junior legal officers are not proficient in these tools, let me take us to architecture. For instance, if most firms looking for architecture today, they'll say they want somebody who can render. And there are some architectural tools that have AI infusion that will help with rendering. So if you are an architect, number one, you don't even know 2D designs, you see that you are at a disadvantage. Not to talk of 3D, then you talk of rendering your designs. You see high disadvantage. So if that is your career path, you have to study how AI is changing or revolutionizing that career path and see how you stay on top of the game, okay? So that at any point, you will be, the change will be beneficial to you, basically, okay? So diversify your skill set. And under this, I will use a tech product manager as an example. So let's consider that you are a product manager in a technological firm. So you combine technical knowledge with strong business acumen. That is the recommendation, because your technical know-how without a business acumen will be a problem. So when you understand both the technical aspect of AI-driven products, for instance, say how machine learning algorithms work, and then you combine that understanding with market demands such as customer needs and competitive landscape. So you can seamlessly transition between roles, whether it's you leading product development, whether it's you leading product managing or managing marketing basically, or developing marketing strategies or driving sales. You see, you can basically adapt within those roles, right? Because what have you done? You have the technical acumen and you have the technical knowledge rather, and the business acumen. So combining, diversifying these skills makes you more invaluable, right? Okay. So another example is a data analyst who expand their skill set to include expertise in business strategy. So the combination then allows the data analyst to not only know how to analyze data, but also provide actionable insights that drive business decisions. I was called upon to salvage a situation last year where some students were trained on data analysis. And the students were trained well, I must confess. But the problem was that their tutor or trainer or facilitator did not have the business acumen or did not know how to combine the data analysis expertise with business strategy. So now this student had learned how to use the tools, how to make analysis, how to do analysis rather, perform analysis, clean data, transform data, and analyze data based on strict examples. But the challenge was they could not find application, right? They did not know in what way should we then apply this. In one way should we apply that. So when I was called upon, I did a needs assessment to assess the level of knowledge, their level of knowledge. And I went back to the company. I told them, I said, see, your students have been well taught, but the problem is that they do not know application. So what they need to be taught is business strategy. So you see that combining the knowledge of business strategy, that is knowing how the business work, okay? Like I mentioned, customer needs, competitive landscape, customer behavior, understanding trends and product diversity, and how people engage with products. The motivation behind buying, basically, okay? You will see that you can easily derive insights from data, much more than somebody without that knowledge. Okay, so see how diversifying your skill set is beneficial, right? Okay, so now you will have to build, last but not the least, build a strong personal brand. You see, now, what I want to suggest or advise is that we begin to see ourselves individually as consultants. Now, I know that there are certain levels. People will tell you that you must work for 10 years, but the way you view yourself will depend on how you project yourself. And the way you want to project yourself will determine, rather, how you want to develop yourself. If I am looking at myself as a consultant and I want to project myself as a consultant, then I should know what a consultant should know. Who is a consultant? A consultant is someone that a business consults to help a business with a strategy or development strategy. In my case, as a research and management consultant, I am consulted to help with strategy development, right? So now, therefore, I need to have technical skills in these areas. I also need to have soft skills to help me understand the needs, right, of the brand. If I understand the need of the brand, I understand the audience. I need to understand the audience. You see, there are various principles for audience segmentation, how we segment with demography, psychography, and all of the motivations. But we could do the paper segmentation and it doesn't work. Follow all the principles and it won't work. Or we actually begin to go back to our primitive perspective of who the human is, why the human behaves the way he or she behaves, What motivates us? Why do people choose certain things? Okay, when they have a lot of other alternatives. That is going back to the primitive mindset. You see, it's still also very advantageous. So now I need to be able to build that personal brand, because a personal brand begins with your personalization. That is I. Okay, so therefore, self-confidence in development is there. So now, as a professional who actually engage on platforms like LinkedIn, you definitely see that people share their thoughts, right? You as well share your thoughts in articles. LinkedIn can also take blog form articles, and you can participate in industry discussions. I recommend you join groups, right? Groups on artificial intelligence, or depending on what your career goal is. You have several groups on LinkedIn. So you need to participate in those groups so that you get recognized as a thought leader in that field. Okay. For instance, the perspective I have on developmental strategy as seen over my experience is that I don't do what people do. How do I do this? Usually, people are so bent on working, writing. Let us put our minds. You hear people say, put yourself in the shoes of the customer. My brothers and sisters, it's a difficult shoe to wear, because you are still going to be writing about your experience. And you end up putting your leg in your own shoe you left on in your closet, in your right, maybe on top of your wardrobe or in your shoe rack, right? That is the shoe you end up putting your leg, because you are still not going to put your leg on informal shoe, or you putting it in Christopher's shoe, because he that wears the shoe knows where it pinches. You can't know where Christopher's shoe pinches, where he's pinching him rather. So what we actually need to do is sometimes stay simple, stay natural, ask questions. Even when it comes to data analysis, you see you have hypotheses. Stay within that, create hypotheses and ask yourself questions. What if? What if? Begin to create scenarios. What if I have this person that doesn't like this one, but likes this one? What if I have this person that doesn't like this and like this one? And always remember that when you do contribute this, you are definitely not alone. You have people who will disagree with you, people who are going to agree with you, but have a varying mindset. You also learn as you contribute. Okay? So, secondly, networking is also a critical component of building a strong personal brand. So, I recommend that you attend industry conferences such as this, whether online, whether physical conferences, very important. Then participate in connecting with peers and mentors. These can help open doors to new opportunities, new collaborations, new partnerships, okay? So I know it's common that you know that your network is your net worth, but I want to look at it in this way. It is possible to stay in a building that is connected to electricity without having electricity. So while it is important that you must network, develop yourself, your soft skill, your ability to connect, your ability to sustain connection, your ability to understand your values, your ability to actually know who to connect with. Because it is important that you connect with people that have similar values with you. Because in the end, you don't want a catastrophic destruction, because sometimes we overlook many things and have a catastrophic end rather than a continuous relationship. Okay, so in conclusion, as AI continues to reshape industries, redefine the job market, so it's very important or crucial that we adapt and future-proof your career. You adapt and future-proof your career. How can you achieve this? You do this by embracing lifelong learning. You develop irreplaceable soft skills. You stay informed about AI advancement, then you diversify your skill set. You build, and lastly, build a strong personal brand. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. And I think the session will be open for your questions now. So over to you, Mr. Benjamin.
Hey, thank you very much. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, but
All right.
very low.
All right, thank you very much. I don't know, maybe before that others have a question. I have a question to ask.
Okay.
So the section was actually very informative. I was trying to take note where you talk about the consequences and one thinking maybe all of these things are going to die down sometimes later. It won't. It's going to keep increasing. The hype and all, and in fact the boundaries of AI, we are going to keep pushing it as much as I know. So it's not something that's stopping anytime soon. All right. So my question, I really wished my sisters were here because this question is something I've wanted to address for them. So, for me, there's a technical person. Okay, I'm a software engineer, and it's easy for me to understand, okay, how to adapt to all of these things. So how can individuals in, say, in a traditional non-technical role, I don't know if you understand me, individuals who are non-technical,
I understand you.
Okay, how can they effectively adapt to the increasing integration of AI in their businesses or scenarios? So let me give a scenario. So imagine a scenario whereby AI takes over a significant portion of their current job, wherever they do in business but it's not technical actually. How would you recommend that person in this situation to pivot their career to leverage AI instead of being replaced? Because now I'm talking of a non-technical person, because sometimes when I get to talk to my sisters, they'll be like, don't tell me to learn software. And I'll say, calm down, I'm not talking of software first. So how can you advise a non-technical person to adapt to this without being replaced totally? So that's my question.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Ben. I understand your question very well. So thank you for the question. Now, you see, I told somebody, I said, we actually need to get you have some level of technical skill. And the person say, I'm not an IT person. I said, my response was, a time will come where non-IT persons will become obsolete. And what do I mean by non-IT persons? Now, you see, let me use a marketer, for instance. A marketer I'm not talking about a digital marketer now. Let me just talk about a marketer. Even a doctor, you see, a medical doctor is not a tech person, right? A lawyer is not a tech person, okay? But let me use a marketer, for instance, or even a psychologist. I'll use a marketer first. Let me use a marketer. So imagine a marketer. The goal of a marketer is to anywhere around generate sales, right? Generate leads or create awareness for a brand. Okay. So now, if a marketer wants to actually be effective, if a marketer wants to actually be really effective, the marketer needs to actually find out about tools, become proficient on how to use those tools. I'll give you an instance. I noticed that the blog posts in our company were not getting the adequate attention, the attention it really deserves. So now, as a content creator, then I had to find a way to begin to measure the effectiveness of my content before I actually deploy. So if I publish the content, I begin to match performance based on the performance prior. So it is easy for me. I started looking for tools I could use. I started looking, and that is where I came in contact with AM Institute's headline analyzer. That's when I came in contact with co-schedule headline analyzer through my research. So now I gradually started honing my skills in understanding how to apply these tools. So the truth is that we talked about technological infusion, and now there is no thought of innovation without technology. There was a time where we could say, okay, innovation is creativity. And so now we begin to see innovation as the addition of technology. What does technology do? Technology increases productivity, brings enhancement, and definitely enhance our results, right? So a psychologist, for instance, will want to be able to understand people better, take notes better. So for instance, with AI, if a psychologist have a tool that will better help them understand their patient and counsel their patient effectively, you find out that those who can use the tools will have better competitive advantage. So what is recommended is that, like, I have to correct that there is no non-technical skill. There is no non-technical skill. Every skill have their technicalities. Every skill have their problems. Every career basically have their problems, their technicalities, and technology is not shying away from anyone. For instance, there are companies who that will want to hire drivers, right? But have to put their drivers through certain training. Okay. Now, why are they putting their drivers through those training? They are putting their drivers through those training because the cars they are driving, for instance, the Nigerian military used to they'll send drivers all the way to Germany to go and learn the art of driving. The art of driving, because they are going to learn how to drive technological driven highly technological advanced cars, security cars, and so on. So see, as a driver should not concern himself or herself with AI, right? But there are cars that are AI powered, right? Or technologically powered that will definitely need us to learn how technology is shaping that the landscape of that career. Okay. So I don't know if I answered your question, Mr. Benjamin. So for instance, I have ChatGPT before me. Let me say I'm a strategist, right? And I've come across a bottleneck, right? I say, what do I do about this? What do I think about this? So I might not use ChatGPT or any of the AI chatbots. I may not use them to create a full strategy. But if I'm stuck somewhere, I should know how to use it, right? I should know how to create prompts to give me results. Because if you don't ask the questions appropriately, if you don't kind of prime your prompts properly, you'll be getting a wrong output, right? And it's so frustrating sometimes that you'll be getting things that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
So
okay. Yeah, thank
I
you.
believe.
Yeah. Someone is asking from the chat room. So I got that. I mean, you emphasize mostly on tools. Okay, so I got that, trying to leverage the tools we have out there. So someone is saying, can you just give me a second? He said, can we see the strategies again? The slide where you talk about strategies that he wants to screenshot. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Let me stop sharing so you can reshare that.
Let me share that.
All right, Etine, so you can take the screenshot when he starts sharing. Thank you. I don't know, does anyone have any other question? Um, yeah, I think this is it. Thank you. I guess he must have taken the screenshots. So, all right. That's all good. Thank you very much once again. It was a long one. Myself, I always want to learn new things, yeah, despite the fact that I'm more of the technical guy, but sometimes when I hear somebody else speaking, I'm like, oh, I never got that part before. So I appreciate your time. Despite your busy schedule, I know I had to keep calling to remind you, sir, we are meeting today, you know. So thank you very much for your time and everything. And to everyone who joined us today, I appreciate you. This session will be uploaded on our channel, on our YouTube channel. So, and the links will be shared. So you can rewatch later as much as you want. And it has absence of any other question. I think that will be the size of it for August. We see again September for another interesting fire chat session. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and do have a lovely weekend and night. Thank you.